when you got the job as a prison guard. And I know that people have asked you about that, but I haven't heard anyone ask you about your first day. Because thinking about it from your perspective, I mean, if anything, that's maybe equally nerve-wracking, maybe is the right word.
Petrified. I was
What's that like?
Petrified. It's like walking into a cult. I mean, obviously, I've done all my training by that time, because you go to like prison officer school, if you will, where you have to stay there. And it's that training kind of prepares you, but nothing can prepare you for that first day in uniform, walking around, because as far as the prisoner's concerned, they see new meat. They see somebody else that they can try to manipulate, and somebody else they can try and condition or break. They try to break you. There are certain prisoners that will try to break you on your first day. And that is petrifying. And you have to stand your ground. And I generally believe that me being a prison officer prepared me so much for what was to come after. It really did. I don't think I would have coped as well if I hadn't have been a prison officer before. I really don't.
So you did have people attempt to take advantage when it was your first day?
Yeah, 100%. They see fresh meat, and they're like straight away, all right, miss, how you doing, miss? Like this. And they just try to goad you, you know, because they want to break you. They want to make you feel so uncomfortable. But I'm streetwise. I come from a rough council estate. So I grew up with people like that. I grew up with, you know, and you have to go into being a prison officer with the mentality that they're already being judged. So you're not there to judge them. Whatever they've done, you are not there. So you have to treat them like as you would anybody walking past the street that says hello to you. So as long as you have that mutual respect with a prisoner, you'll gain that respect back. And like during sort of times where they're on the wing and they're chilling out or whatever, and they come up to you and say, do you want a game of pool, miss? And then you play pool with them, and then they'd say something, you know, it's a little bit on the knuckle. You go, don't be a dickhead, come on, you know, and that banter that you can have where you're friendly but not friends. So there's a big sort of line. And I worked with some of the best prison officers you'll ever meet. And they were great. They was old school. They'd been prison officers for years, and they had so much respect of prisoners. And you learn from that, and you learn how to gain these different layers and thick layers of skin, so that when someone does try to break you, you can stand up with your shoulders back and your head held high and go, no, you're not today, darling. You know, and they know they can't break you, and it's just like a mutual respect. You know, they're there to do their time. You're there to help them do their time sufficiently, respectfully, and safely, whilst caring for them and making sure that they don't get into any sort of gangs or anything like that. Because there are some people in there that were not very nice, but there are also some prisoners in there that were actually really nice and respectful. Because I from day one, you have to have that mentality of you can't judge them. When you'd meet someone, you'd meet a prisoner, and you would be chatting to them, and you know they talk about their family and their life, and you're like, oh mate, that's lovely, blah blah blah. And then you go and read their file and see what they've done, and you go, because you would never know. But if I'd have gone in to meet that person, knowing, I'd have been on my back foot a little bit, you know, because you think, Jesus, you did that to a person, and you wouldn't be with them the same. So I'd never wanted to read what somebody'd done before meeting that person, because I want to know them before knowing what they've done. And I feel like that helped me a lot to be able to bond on a professional level with prisoners and be able to carry on and be safely. And, you know, you'd be in prison, and sometimes because you're a woman, if there was ever any trouble, some prisoners would try to protect the woman because, but you couldn't let them protect you even though in the outside world you would let a guy protect you, but inside prison they could use that to try and condition you to, so that you felt protected. And that's why in some cases there are women in prison that fall for prisoners, because they feel more protected by a guy that's in prison than they would on the outside. It's really bizarre, but there are so many things that you have to have your guard up about, and you have to be able to sort of go, if a prisoner, for example, saw me come in, I never really wore makeup, but if, say, for example, I had really red eyes and I'd been crying for whatever reason, the prisoner noticed it. Are you all right, miss? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, all good. Thanks a lot, blah, blah, blah. You'd never sort of go to them, yeah, I just had a bad day, because then they'll be like trying to be there for you. And that's the first part of like someone trying to condition you into next thing you know, you're having full-blown conversations outside their cell, telling them your problems and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And you should never let that guard down. Don't talk too much about your kids. I could never go back to work in a prison, because they've got TVs. They watch the final. They know who I am. They've seen what my kids look like. It's too dangerous for me to go and work back in the prison service. But I did enjoy my time there. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed, helping people and working with people and helping them become better people, because eventually they will get out, some of them.